I can't tell you how excited I was when I was growing up because my dad always got me Chinese food, pizza, and hot dog. I grew up in Brooklyn. Yeah, yeah, that's where it was. And some of the best times that I have that I remember revolve around those three things: hot dogs, pizza, and Chinese food. And for the life of me, no matter how I try, those are still some of my favorite foods. I guess I don't try that hard. But one of the challenges that we have that we're going to be talking about tonight is how do you take something that you like, something that you grew up with, or something that really is one of your favorite foods, and how do you create a healthy version of that? I've had that question so many times. And so tonight, what I want to do is I want to spend some time talking about how to make one of the things I love, make it healthy, particularly talking about pizza. And tonight we're going to talk about creating a sausage cauliflower pizza. That's right. And it was delicious, y'all. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes, people who want to put their diabetes in remission, who want to get off of diabetes medications, who want to improve their metabolic health, who want to reverse their diabetes. Hey, if you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we are glad to have you in the community. Also, if you are new, go ahead and put a Q if you have a question into the comments so that we know that that is a question that we need to get to as we get throughout the evening tonight. And as you know, we do how we do. We're going to take a look at some other things. Right now, I have my monitors that are sitting off to the side. We're going to take a look at what my blood sugars are. And I've got my report from my Dexcom Clarity app that we're going to take a look at here in just a little while to see what's been happening as since we stopped fasting back on when was that, Friday? Yeah. So anyway, so glad to be here. I do see one of our community members out there. I see Teresa. Hey, Teresa. She's saying hello, Dr. Woode and everyone. Glad that you're here. We should be streaming also to Instagram tonight. If you're out there, thank you for joining us and hanging out with us tonight. We've been working on getting that done, and I think we finally got it. Hopefully it didn't mess anything else up. All right, so one of the things that I do want to do is I want to go ahead and we're going to spend some time. We're going to take a look at what my blood sugars are here in just a minute as we get started and as we move into the rest of the discussion. I was excited to do this. I was excited to have this this show because if you remember, we did back in the fall, I believe it was, we did a show where we did curry chicken. Last month or 2 months ago, we did tofu, portobello mushrooms. We did cauliflower rice, we did tofu steaks and so forth. So, palpitations after we're done. And so this was an exciting one for me because there are some other things that we're doing. And so my hope is as we go throughout the year that you'll see the shows punctuated with either this as one of the shows or we'll have an additional show at some point. For those of you who are in a community, maybe we'll do that in one of our groups. But tonight we're talking about the cauliflower, the sausage cauliflower pizza. Lost my thought there for a minute. But let's hop over and let's go ahead and take a look at what some of my blood sugars are doing. And I do see a question out there. Teresa, I do see your question. I'm going to go ahead and star that. And we'll come back to that here in just a little bit. Okay? All right. So let's see. So first of all, let's take a look at my Libre. So my Libre right now is saying that my blood sugar is 72. And by the way, yesterday at 9 o'clock was was the last time I ate, 9:30-ish. So I wanted to do a couple of things this week. One of the things that I've had people ask me about is what do you do when you come out of a fast, and what is your regular routine? And my regular routine was kind of a 16-8. I'm actually changing that, probably more like a 18-19 plus, right? And so pretty much eating either two very short meals or one meal a day. And you'll see there, so I still have, what, 2.5 hours within my eating window, right? So I've been fasting since 9:30 last night. So 9:30 tonight would be 24 hours. I'm not planning to do a 24-hour fast. This is just, there are people who are out there right now who are wanting to do a 23, 22-hour fast, eat one meal a day. And so I wanted to show you what blood sugars do within a day, right? Because a lot of people don't think that blood sugars can improve within a day. And there you have it. So this is about 12 hours now. But I've been basically fasting for 20, 21, 22 hours, right? The plan for those people who are doing this type of fast is that they're going to eat, and the blood sugar, of course, will start over, and then tomorrow it'll go down again. But anyway, you see that, and we'll talk more about that as we get into the fasting for the rest of this week. But I wanted to make that point for you as you're looking at the blood sugar that you see on the screen. And then, of course, taking a look at my Dexcom, and my Dexcom says that my blood sugar right now is an 86, okay? So 86 for the Dexcom, and of course for the Libre. And let's hop over and let's take a look at what my finger sticks are going to show on my Clarity app. Not my Clarity, but my Keto Mojo and my Contour. And you may see on the screen, let me pop this off so you can get a better look. So I've got a tray here, and within this tray, I've got several different types of lancing devices, lancets. Let's see. This is the one that we've been using, right? And it's just basically a lancet. There is another one here that I've got in this tray. And then, of course, these kind of automatic spring-loaded ones. So anyway, so I brought a bunch of those because I'm always looking for lancets. So I'll move that up. I think I'll try one of these today. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's pop over and we'll take a look at our blood sugars. Then we get into our discussion for this evening. So first, let me grab a test strip. Test strip for the Contour, and then a test strip for the Keto Mojo. And the way this one works, basically, you turn this little knob, and it's attached to the lancet that's in the device, and it's actually spring-loaded, okay? So I'm going to break this part off, and that basically comes out. And I need to find a good spot on my finger, and I'm going to press this against my finger while I depress this little lever, okay? And that lever releases the lancet, and the spring pushes it, and I get, okay? So you may have heard okay? And there is my drop of blood. Let's get the Keto Mojo going. Let's go ahead and get the Contour going. And so 84 for the Keto Mojo, and the Contour 88, so not far off. And then, of course, we're going to change and do the ketones here on the Keto Mojo. And just like I always do, I'm not going to show that to you guys right now. I know, I'm so bad teasing you guys. All right, so let's hop over and let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about our what we're doing tonight, right? So when we're talking about cooking with Dr. Woode, and we're going to go through that video here in just a minute, but just a few things that I want to talk about. And the challenge is this. Well, let's do this one. There we go. The challenge is creating a pizza that is both healthy and delicious. right? Because typically when people think pizza, they think lots of carbs, they think unhealthy, they think lots of cheese, lots of calories, and so forth. And so that really is the challenge. And often when we are trying to change a food, when we're trying to change a dish, we tend to think that that dish can't be either it's not going to taste good, or if it tastes good, then it's not going to be healthy. And so that's really the challenge that a lot of people find themselves in. Well, let's talk a little bit about cauliflower. And I have a team member in my office that says cauliflower is the great imitator, because if you're in the wellness, if you're in the space right now, you know that cauliflower is one of those things that people are making all kinds of things from. Okay, and we here on the show have done cauliflower rice. In fact, part of what we're going to need to do as we are creating the crust for the pizza that we're going to be making is we're going to have to make some cauliflower rice. But cauliflower, I've seen people making hot wings, right? So they basically grill the cauliflower, or they bread it, fry it, and then they put it in buffalo sauce. Or I've seen people making little finger foods with cauliflower. I've seen people making all kinds of things with cauliflower, and so she calls it the cauliflower is the great imitator. But there are some great things that cauliflower has that are beneficial, right? So in terms of nutrition, and you'll see that there. So protein, 2 grams of protein, and this is for about 100 grams of cauliflower, probably a cup. There's not a lot of fat, right? About 1 gram of fat. Not a lot of carbohydrates, so 5 grams of carbohydrates for that 1 cup. Lots of fiber, 2 grams. And remember, cauliflower is one of those non-starchy vegetables that we talked about before when we did our show. If you didn't see that show, go back and watch it, and you'll get a flavor for that. And then, of course, potassium, magnesium, and phosphorus, all those things that we like. And then it's full of different types of vitamins: vitamin C, vitamin K, B6, folate, pantothenic acid, and these are all substances, all things that we want to include in our diet. So there's a lot of benefit for cauliflower. And so a little bit about the history of pizza. So because that's my thing, right? So pizza. So the concept of flatbreads has been around for a long time, back to the Greeks, the ancient times, Romans, Egyptians, and so forth. And this idea of having some kind of bread that you put stuff on. Basically, that's what pizza is. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about as we get to the modern time, but that's where pizza is. So flatbread in the Middle Age, it evolved in different regions in Europe, in Italy, particularly in Naples, and so this bread was referred to as a pizza. This flat bread that they made was referred to as a pizza initially, right? Initially, these were simple breads, and you just top them with ingredients. And this was here's the thing, right? And this is a lot of times what we find is that there are certain things that are common to what are called the common people. Right? People who didn't have a lot of money, they weren't affluent, and so they developed something. And if you flash forward now, hundreds of years later, in our modern society, those are called delicacies, right? So we took them, so people, but when they didn't have money, that's what they used, and now it has become one of these delicacies, right? That we use. So anyway, so flatbread in the Middle Ages, the modern pizza. In the 18th and 19th century, when tomatoes were introduced into Europe, then the commoners, those who were not affluent, started using tomatoes and putting them on bread with lots of different things. And this was really the first simple pizza, right? It was cheap. It was something that you can eat with your fingers. This was kind of the working class kind of snack or kind of food, right? And then, right, the pizza margherita and there's a story where Queen Margherita was visiting, and a local baker, cook, chef made her a pizza, or this flat bread that had the colors of the Italian flag. So red for tomatoes, white for mozzarella, and green or basil for green. Okay, and this was really it was named Pizza Margherita, and this is really kind of the thing that solidified the idea that pizza was an Italian cuisine, and that sparked the whole thing. And so today, pizza has taken on a life of its own, right? So lots of different types of pizza around the world. New York style pizza, which is where I'm from, New York. Chicago has their deep dish pizza. California has their gourmet pizza. And around the world, if you go around the world, lots of different places have different types of pizza, including the variations of toppings, like seafood in Japan, or spicy meats in India. And I'm sure if you're out there and you are from the Caribbean, I would love to know, what do you put on a pizza in the Caribbean? If you're from Africa, what do you put in a pizza in Africa? If you are of the native peoples of the United States, do you have a pizza, and what do you put on your pizza? So if you know, or even some of our community members in your state, is there a state pizza that you guys eat, and what is it? I'm here in Alabama, and I keep searching for New York style pizza. Right, that's what I grew up in, kind of flat, thin bread. I have grown to like deep dish, but when I was growing up, it was really it was not deep dish. It was a flatbread, basically flatbread. Okay, all right. So let's go now and let's take a look, and let's talk about our pizza. So the first thing that we've got to do when we're making the pizza is we have to get the cauliflower. And if you didn't watch our show where we did the cauliflower rice, the same thing is what we're doing. So we've got the cauliflower, and this is really one head of cauliflower that I've cut up, and you see the different pieces. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a grater, and we're going to basically rice, quote unquote, rice the cauliflower. So we're kind of grating it and getting it set so that we can then use it for the rest of what we do. And here's a great place to talk about the versatility of cauliflower. So here we're using it, we're ricing it, quote unquote, to be able to mix it and make a dough out of it. But we can also take the cauliflower, we can use it, we can form it, we can make, as we did before, we can use it for rice, and we could put things on top of it. Okay, we can use the cauliflower, as I mentioned. We can dip it in sauces, and if you go to any function and they've got a tray of vegetables, one of those vegetables that you may see on that tray is cauliflower, right? So there are carrots, there's broccoli, there's celery, and of course there's cauliflower, the little spears, and you dip them in ranch or whatever else is there. And so here, we're basically ricing the cauliflower, and we end up with a bowl of cauliflower. And I have a recipe that we've done that gives you all of this. In fact, let's see, would I be able to do that? Let me see if I can pull it up. Anyway, there's a book that we're putting together, a cookbook that has all the recipes and things that we've been doing. Okay, so we rice the cauliflower, and then what we need to do, if you remember, in one of our old when we did when we did our cooking show before, the way that I cooked the cauliflower that time was I took it and I put it in a frying pan with some oil. This time what I'm doing is simply taking the cauliflower after I've riced it, put it in a bowl, I cover it with some saran wrap, and I put it into the microwave, and we did it for 5 minutes, and we basically get that out, and now the cauliflower is warm or hot, cooked, right? Because it doesn't take a lot of time to get the cauliflower going. Now, one thing that I didn't do here, right? One thing I didn't do was I didn't drain it, right? So I wanted to see what the bread would be like or the dough. And so you can take it after you take it out of the microwave. You put it in a clean kitchen towel, and you basically wring out the excess moisture from it. In this case, I did not do that. And then we take it, and so here's our mixtures, right? So we've got some eggs, mozzarella cheese, we've got Italian seasoning, Parmesan cheese, black pepper to taste, salt to taste, garlic powder to taste, and basically we're mixing this together, and we're getting kind of a doughy substance, and that's what we're going to use to make the dough for the pizza. And so there you'll see all my ingredients that I'm doing, and we're going to start mixing that up and then form it. And you can form this in lots of different ways. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see. Here we go. So you can begin forming this in lots of different ways. In this case, what I did was I just mixed it in a bowl, dropped all of those ingredients in there, and once again, this is to taste, right? So and we do have that recipe that we used to make this, and it will be available on our website that we'll have. And so in this case, if you look at the bowl, you see the steam coming out of the bowl. And I basically, what I did was I grabbed this and I stuck it into the freezer part of the refrigerator, and I let that cool down a little bit because I didn't want my cheese that I was getting ready to put in to melt too much. But basically, right, you're putting all those ingredients in there, and that's a little blurry. But then we take that out, and I've got a cookie sheet that I've put some parchment on, and we're gonna start putting that together. And what I wanted to show here is that it doesn't take a lot, right? So this is just some parchment paper on a cookie sheet, and I'm just spooning that out, and you'll see I'm starting to form the dough. I'm starting to form the pizza pie itself, and it's really just a 1-inch thick layer of the cauliflower mix that I've made, and I'm kind of making that. You can do this deep dish, right? If you're interested, if you like deep dish, when you're putting this together, basically you kind of press the middle in so that you have the edges coming up, and here you'll see that we're putting that together in a pie shape and form. And mine is a little bit more, it's not as stiff, which I like, and it came out actually very nicely. And what we're gonna do is, once I get that formed, we're gonna go ahead and pop that into the oven and get it to brown and begin to firm up. All right, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. If I hadn't put the eggs in there, I would have just grabbed the piece and eat it right there. But so we have the eggs, and so we're gonna go ahead and pop this into the oven. Okay, and look at that, right? So that in itself, right, beautiful. That really looks kind of like a New York pizza, right? It doesn't have any toppings on it, but it's nice and crusty. You see the edges there, and you actually see the top of the pizza. So you see the seasonings, the Italian seasonings that's coming through it. And so then I have smoked sausage that I've done. This is beef sausage that we're doing. And so we're going to put the cheese on top of it. There we go, right? So delicious. And you guys know that I'm a cheesaholic. So So we got the cheese that we're gonna put on, and then we're gonna cover that um, with the sausage here in a minute. And you can really put this. We're doing a sausage pizza, but this was what I wanted to do. You can do vegetables. You can do other types of meats if you're interested. I have somebody who told me that they made a barbecue chicken pizza. Basically, they took the chicken, chopped it up, and cooked it with barbecue sauce, and then they topped the pizza with that. Here, I'm not using any vegetables, but you could put onions on there. You can put olives if you like olives. All the normal everyday things that you would put on a pizza, you can put here as well, right? Because the only difference that we're doing right now is we're changing the dough from using flour. Right now we're using the cauliflower. Okay, and so that cuts down on the carbohydrates. It cuts down on the starches, right? And it is a healthy version of this. Doesn't that look good? Right? Beautiful, beautiful. Right? And so we're going to take this and we're going to pop it into the oven. And we'll see what that looks like, right? So once again, we created. Let's pop back over here. So we riced the cauliflower. We steamed it in the microwave. Remember when we did a previous version, what we did was we took that and we actually put olive oil and we put it into the frying pan. And that was how we did it the last time. This time we simply took it, we put it in the microwave and steamed it, and then took it out and then mixed all of our ingredients together. That was the Parmesan cheese, the mozzarella cheese, the eggs, the garlic powder, Italian season, black pepper, and salt to taste, and then formed our once we mixed that up, we formed the pizza crust, got that onto a cookie sheet, and made a half-inch thick layer as our crust. Got that into the oven. Comes out look at that, delicious. And then went ahead and topped it with our cheese, topped it with the sausage, and then we're going to pop that back in the oven here in just a minute. Okay? All right. So let me pause there, and I want to hop over, and I did see Jennifer. So Teresa was here. She said hi. Jennifer came in. Jennifer said howdy. Hey, Jennifer, glad that you're here. Hey, Teresa. And Teresa did have a question. She said, I missed the show when you talked about having palpitations after a fast. I'm trying to remember which show that was, Teresa. Jog my memory, if you don't mind. Just drop something else. And then I see some folks over on Instagram. Thank you guys for coming through and hanging out with us as we are talking about doing a sausage cauliflower pizza. I do see a good friend out there who is vegetarian. And so once again, for those of you who are vegetarian or even those of you who are vegan, this is actually a very simple way of improving a classic dish, right? A classic item. You can do the cauliflower. And you'd have to find, some, if you're into cheese, right? Because you can do this actually without cheese. But if you want to do cheese, you would have to find some vegan cheese, and we do have some in the refrigerator. And actually, I went and I had some the other day, And to be honest, when I enjoyed the vegan cheese, at least the one that we had, a little bit more than the regular cheese that I had. So I was cutting it up and eating it. But you can do that as well. And then of course the toppings. The toppings can be any vegetable that you really want to put on the pizza. Okay, all right. So let's hop back over, and I do want to talk a little bit more about making something healthy, right? About making something healthy. So we talked about pizza today, and how do we make a healthier pizza? How do we make a healthier pizza? Right? Number one, you want to choose a healthy base, and that's where the cauliflower comes in, right? You can use other things to make the pizza. There are other types of flours, if you will. I was trying to stay away from the flour because once you crush that up, whatever it is, it could be corn flour, it could be plantain flour, it could be cassava flour. Because you are crushing it up, the fiber is actually pretty much destroyed, and your body absorbs that so much easier, and so we get a spike in the blood sugar. Insulin has to come out to decrease the sugar, whether you take insulin or your body makes the insulin. Once that happens, then the appetite is stimulated. And remember our 3 pillars, right? So decrease insulin, suppress appetite, and get rid of as much sugar as possible. And so that was the reason that cauliflower is actually a good base. You want to opt for healthier sauces. And you'll see here in this case, I did not use any sauces, right? This was simply the cauliflower, cauliflower base, then the cheese on top of that, and then the sausage on top of that, and that's all. So I did not use any sauces, but you can use lots of different types of sauces, things that you create yourself. Marinara sauce. You can make your own spaghetti sauce at home. You can make your own whatever sauce. Actually, you can make that at home. Then you want to load up on vegetables, right? Often, if you make a pizza and you don't put enough stuff on it, after you've eaten that slice of pizza, you're still hungry. So if you are making sure that on that slice that you're having, or on the pizza in general, you're putting a lot of vegetables, then those vegetables, and non-starchy vegetables, by the way, those vegetables are they have bulk. And so when you eat them, because they have bulk, the pizza already tastes good. You have the toppings of the pizza that creates bulk, and now you eat that and you are satisfied. Otherwise, it's basically a piece of cheese that you're eating, and then your appetite might be stimulated at that point. You want to choose lean protein. So as you're getting into, if you are eating meat, chicken, fish, whatever, you want to choose lean proteins, because once again, we're trying to get a healthier pizza, a healthier version of this dish, of this item. So in this case, I did not change anything else other than I did not put sauce, and it was cauliflower. But even to make it healthier, we could have, instead of doing sausage, you could have done something else. You could have done chicken, like I mentioned before. And then be mindful of cheese. This is my this is my place where I've got to kind of be careful, right? So when we did our show where we talked about labs, remember that my cholesterol level went up because I've been doing such a good job of keeping blood sugars under control, right? That I've switched to eating things that don't have a lot of carbs, but are higher in calories, higher in fat. And so one of the things I've gone to is eating cheese. So I think I have now probably some stock in cheese somewhere. And so as you're doing healthy, remember we always have to find a balance. And for a lot of us, when we are, I shouldn't say a lot of us. So in general, human beings, right? In general, human beings, we tend to go, I don't want to say extremes, But in this case, going from a lot of carbs and say, well, I'm not going to eat a lot of carbs, so I'm going to come way over here to this side. But it has to be balanced. And if we do a good job of balancing, then things kind of work out, right? So in terms of the pizza, you want to make sure that you're not like pounding it with a lot of cheese. Otherwise, we run into other issues. Cool. Let's see what else. Give me just a sec. Okay, so cheese, right? So be careful with the cheese, and then when you're flavoring, remember herbs, spices for flavor. We did a show also where we talked about how to flavor foods, how to improve foods, how to not use a lot of salt and sugar and so forth. Remember what our plan is, right? So this show really is just a component of our plan to reverse diabetes. So as we are reversing diabetes, we're putting these practices in place, not just in isolation, but we're putting them in place so that we have all of these tools in our toolbox that we can use as we're moving in that direction. Right? If you're out there and you are not diabetic and you are here with us, the things that we're talking about for diabetes in terms of being healthy work for you as well. Whether you have metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, polycystic ovarian syndrome, all of those, if you're now creating a healthy version of pizza, guess what improves? All the things that we just talked about, right? So not just blood sugars, but all of the metabolic issues that you may be having in your life as well. So just because you're not diabetic doesn't mean that this is not beneficial for you as well. Okay. All right. And so let's go ahead and let's take a look at our pizza. Yeah. Yep. You guys want to see the end of it? Well, let me do this first. What I want to do is I want to hop over and let's take a look at what my report has been saying about blood sugars. Move up some of this stuff. Okay, here we are. So let's see. Let's do this one. All right. So blood sugars. So you'll see there that my 14-day average blood sugar is 100. Right. So average blood sugar 14 days is 100. My average blood sugar for the last 90 days, 3 months, has been 104, so not far off from the 100. My glucose management indicator, which is a surrogate or a marker for what my blood sugars would be, or my A1C would be, is 5.8. And in fact, when we did our show, when was that? Was that last week or week before? On labs, my A1C was actually a 5.8, which is right in keeping with what this guy said that it would be. I'm in target, I'm in range 90% of the time. And that range, for those of you who are out there keeping track of blood sugar, is anywhere from 70 to 180. One point about the 70 to 180, that is a safety parameter, okay? I don't want my patients generally to have blood sugars up to 180. I usually tell folks I want their blood sugars between 100 and 120. That's the goal. If we do that, then we have an A1C of about 6.5. Okay? All right. So if we take a look at the daily graphs, you'll see if we go back starting on Friday, and you see the blood sugars during Friday were 140s, 150s, and then Saturday, kind of the same thing, 130s, 120s, 150s. Sunday into the 60s, and then remember I said that I stopped eating last night about 9:30. So right in here, and then the blood sugars began coming down into the 100s. And I want you to note reversing diabetes, right? We've been asking folks to fast for 1 24-hour period. And people say, well, 24-hour period, does that make a difference? And you can see it there on the screen for yourself. It does make a difference, because if you're not putting anything in, you're not putting any calories in, you're not putting any carbs in, then the body has to use the energy that it has on board. Has to use the carbohydrates that are on board. And as it uses that, the blood sugars go down. During the course of having these blood sugars go down, guess what you don't have to do? You don't have to probably take any insulin during that time. Your body is not having to spike your insulin up. If that doesn't happen, then the appetite gets suppressed. Remember the pillars. Number one, we want to decrease our insulin. Number two, we want to suppress the appetite. And number three, we want to get rid of as much sugar as possible. Right? So there it is. And so that gives us a good indicator of what happens. And so when I eat here before 9 o'clock, right? So we'll see the blood sugar spike up and then come back down as we begin another 24-hour period. And I wanted to specifically show those of you who are out there who are working on a particular fasting regimen that even a 24-hour period fasting does have benefit, because during the time when you're not eating, then those blood sugars are coming down. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at our pizza, right? So we had just topped the pizza, and we're getting ready to put it into the oven. Right. So we've riced it, we've cooked it, microwave, we've mixed it, we've formed our dough, we created the pizza, we put it in the oven so that it began cooking, and it got a little harder, firmer, and we put it in, and we added our toppings, which is cheese and our sausage, and now we're taking our pizza out, and look at how delicious that looks. Right? And you can't tell that that's cauliflower. And so now we plated it. Right? Wow, delicious, delicious, delicious. Yep. And so, sausage, cauliflower pizza, a healthy version of this amazing dish. And I made it, and I have some more cauliflower. I bought 2 heads of cauliflower that's in the refrigerator, and I'm getting ready to make some. And then this week, I'm going to make some. I was planning to make it on this weekend, but I didn't get a chance to do it. But this week I'm making some. We have some other things that we picked up that are in the refrigerator right now, picked up from the grocery store, that we're going to be doing, and putting those together so that we can see that you can have healthy versions of the things that you like. Okay? If you have a particular dish that you have out there that you want to see us attempt. Notice I say attempt, right? Because I am not a chef, right? I do play one, but I love to cook. My dad was an amazing cook, an amazing chef. A lot of the things that I cook and the way that I eat, the flavors that I like come directly from eating his food. There are some things that I have that are specific to my culture that I am going to be working to improve, working to have a healthy version of it. And, we'll share that with you as well. But if there's something out there that you want us to try, go ahead and drop that in the chat, because we would like to come alongside. Because remember, this community is a part of helping us in terms of reversing our diabetes, and we do that as we work and move together. Hey guys, this is a great place for us to do the thought of the day, so let's go ahead and let's do that right now. And the thought of the day is this: that the only constant is change. Change happens. Change does not pigeonhole you into a particular place because you can always change. I was talking to someone this weekend, and she was sharing that there are some things going on in her life, and that she was unsure of how to proceed. And the issue was that I think in her mind, if she made a decision, that decision was permanent. And often that is what happens for us. Sometimes we don't make a move because we think we don't make a decision because we think the decision that we make, once we make that decision, that's forever. And change always happens. There's changes in our health. There are changes in our health. There are changes in our careers. There are changes in our education, in our jobs, in our home where we live, right? Changes in our vehicles, in our clothes. Change happens. And just because you have made a decision does not mean that you cannot go back and make a change. Many of us have made decisions in terms of our health. And there are some damaging things that have happened in our health. There are some health choices. There are some health benefits. There are some health habits that we have developed. And we think that we are stuck going down that road. And I want to convince you, I want to encourage you and tell you that that is not true. If you are having healthy habits, you have healthy lifestyles that you've developed, let's continue to strengthen those. If there are things that have happened, if there are behaviors that you are now engaged in terms of the types of things that you eat, the way you eat, how often you eat, how much you eat, those are learned behaviors. And just because you've done something a certain way doesn't mean that you have to do it the same way all the time. Just like things in life change, just like we change in all other aspects of our life, in everything that we do, there's the opportunity to change. And here in our health, there's also the opportunity to change. You can make a difference. As you've heard me say before and over and over and over and over, you can be the voice for change for others, but you can also be the voice of change for yourself. So as you are thinking about your health, as you are working to put your health in a better position to be successful, as you are thinking about reversing your diabetes, improving your metabolic health, remember, it's not permanent. Change happens. The only constant is change, because things are always changing. And that is our thought for today. All right, all right. I do see. Let's see. So Teresa says. Teresa says, "LOL. I don't remember the title of the show either. I caught the tail end of it. You were speaking about extended fast. If you could have palpitations after it ends, huh? Okay. So I mean, I don't remember that particular show, Teresa, but in terms of ending a fast, particularly if you've not done a good job of hydration, then yes, you can have that. The other thing that happens is as you begin refeeding, right, as you begin eating again, if you're not careful in how you approach that, then the metabolism will gear up, and so you can have palpitations as a result of that. So I'm not sure if that was the context I was talking about at that time, but that also is something that can happen. So palpitations, of course, as you are going through the fast, if you're not maintaining hydration, and then as you begin feeding again, as you begin eating again, then as your metabolism picks up, also if hydration has not been kept up, then you can have palpitations as well. Okay. Let's see. Jennifer says, I can make my own sauce. No sugar and added, let me put that back up. No sugar and added veggies in the mix. Yep. So Teresa, you have I think if I remember, you have a garden, don't you? You're out there. And we said we need to take a community trip out to hang out with Teresa. Teresa says she's sorry. She said, make noodles, please. I love them. Teresa, any particular type of noodles? Any particular type of noodles? And she says, yes, it happened after I eat. So it was what I ate. Yeah, so a lot of things that we use to refeed, and we break that fast, can stimulate our metabolism and can cause us to have palpitations, particularly if we're having spicy foods and the body's now starting to the metabolism is picking up. Okay, so Teresa, yes. So what I'm gonna do, right, is we are a gluten-free house, so I'm gonna find some gluten-free noodles and we can make that. Okay, so Teresa, drop me a line, remind me. It's here, but drop me a line separately and remind me that, hey, I'm supposed to do that, right? Oh, okay. So Jennifer is the one that has the garden. All right. So Teresa, you and I have to get together and we take a trip out to Jennifer. Right, and hang out with her, and we can get some stuff from her garden, and then we can enjoy that together. Yep. All right, so let's talk a little bit, y'all, about where we are and what's going on in our space. Very first thing I want to, of course, talk about is unlimited, right? So often we find ourselves limiting ourselves. There is the ability to improve our health. There is the ability to improve our lifestyle. There's the ability to improve our diet. Just like we did tonight, we took one of my most favorite foods and we created a healthier version of it. Unlimited ability. You may have tried things in the past. You may have not been successful in things in the past. That's behind us. Now we have unlimited ability, unlimited potential. And here on the show, here in this community, we are tapping into the unlimited ability. We're tapping into the ability to go beyond where we thought we can go, beyond where we've been told we can go, beyond where even sometimes we can imagine. Unlimited ability. And on the show, the channel, what do? We educate, we empower, and we encourage. That's how we work. We educate with the shows, with the podcasts, with the blogs that we do. That is with the intention of changing our mindset, changing our thought, making a frame shift, because we've got to do that in order to be successful. We empower. The empowerment comes from the tools. One of the things that we just learned, a tool, how to create a cauliflower pizza. Whatever I did sausage cauliflower pizza. You can do whatever you want. You can do tofu. You can put chicken. You can put fish. You can put so many other things. You can do a veggie pizza, right? So one of the tools. And then we encourage. We encourage by the community that's here that I love. The community is growing. We've got some very valuable, very appreciated community members. You can be a part of this community as well. Right? So we educate, we empower, and we encourage. The Triple E formula for success. The HEAT model. This is a model that talks about the things that will trigger us. We eat because of habits, emotions, access, and taste. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. The habits that we form, right? The emotions that will push through the decisions that we've made, the access that we have, the things that are just around us, and the taste that we have for something. It's never the food that we're chasing. It's always what the food does for us. It's the emotions that it creates. It's the memory that it brings back. It's the calm that it brings to us. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. And then our call to action, right? Join the challenges. We've been doing challenges every month. Every month we have a new challenge. In the month of January, figure out your why. Why do you want to do what you're doing? In the month of February, hey, let's start fasting for 24-hour period. In the month of March, figure out which one of the heat models was yours. Is it habits? Is it emotions, access, and taste? I'll tell you mine. I've got 3 of them. Emotions, access, and taste. All 3 of those are mine. In the month of April, it was to create a meal that was healthy, right? And for instance, a pizza is a perfect one. And you see the parameters there. In the month of May, find somebody to mentor. Bring them along with you. Don't let this just be something you do by yourself. If you want to go somewhere, go by yourself. If you want to go a far way, if you want to be successful, take people with you. And of course, in this month, we talked about labs. Make sure that you are getting with your healthcare provider, your healthcare team, so that you can get your labs checked. Okay. So call to action. Join the challenges. Share your story when you come on. Let us know what's going on. Just like people here have been telling us, hey, if you're fasting, drop that in there. If you're having some challenges, drop that in there. Let us know where you are. When we see your successes, we know we can do it. When we hear what struggles you're having, then we know that we're not alone. And then invite someone. Don't let this go by and let this be by yourself. There are over 1 billion people on the planet that can benefit from this information. Invite someone, send them a link, let them know what's going on. Walk alongside your mentee, the person you're going to be mentoring. Say, hey, let's go watch the show together. Let's come together and let's do that as a group, right? So glad. Always excited that we can spend some time together and to be here. We're going to be checking in with you as we get into our fast later this week. And we'll be coming back, of course, next week on the show at 7 p.m. Central right here. As I always say, y'all, glad to be with you, glad to be able to hang out. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. That's right, Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new year, new you. Good night. We'll see you in our check-in later this week and on our show next week, 7 p.m. Central, right here. Bye-bye.